So ESPN Power Rankings has the Lakers as the 13th best team in the NBA. And if you looked at the start of the season and you saw this, you'd probably think they're crazy. But right now, I wouldn't say it's too blasphemous. I mean, the Lakers, watching as because I watched most of the games, it hasn't been pretty. Yes, against the Magic last night, they absolutely destroyed the Magic in the third quarter, but they pretty much in the fourth quarter just stopped trying pretty much, especially their interior defense. And the Magic almost came back, putting like a 25-point lead to like a 10-point lead, which isn't good for a team that wants to be a title contender. And this is the Orlando Magic we're talking about. It isn't like the Milwaukee Bucks, the Nets that they're dominating. But I mean, they are currently 15-13. The game against Chicago, Dallas, and the Suns is going to be super important for this team to prove that they are legit. I mean, LeBron had an amazing night last night. His passing has been on point. His shooting, he's been aggressive. His shots been falling, and he's been really good on it, especially on both ends. Westbrook, he's also been good. He's just been aggressive around the paint. Lesser turnovers. It is still quite a bit, but it's less than the start of the season, and he's not really taking as many three-pointers, which is, of course, really good. AD is just, it's kind of sad to see him, like, if you look at like 4 years ago, the expectations for AD was to be like the best player in the NBA with New Orleans. He was a bucket on both ends, but he just didn't really, as a franchise player, didn't lead to wins. And then in the bubble, he won the championship. But after last season, this season, his shot's been so bad, especially from three-point land. His free throw percentage has been so worse. He's been more injury prone, and it just hasn't been the Anthony Davis that we know. He was before like a top 5 player in the league, even top 3 player in the NBA. But he's fallen to like the 10 to 12 range, which for this Lakers team, they're really going to need AD, and hopefully he can step up. Their role players, Carmelo has an occasional good night, Malik Monk, Taylor Horton-Tucker, all have good nights a couple times, but I guess right now I would say in this whole season, I would say they are the 13th best team, which I guess is fine, but hopefully they can turn it around. 12, we have the Clippers. Okay, I mean, Brandon Boston Jr. looked really good that one game. Reggie Jackson's been picking up what he did in the playoffs. I mean, they're 15-12. I mean, I guess that's fine. Of course, they don't have Kawhi, so they're not really like a contender for the championship. Hopefully, Kawhi comes back soon. But I still think that they're building something up good, even without their franchise player. 11, the Wizards. Well, they haven't been as good, of course. They started, 11-4, something like that. Now they're 15-12, which is, of course, worse. Like, I guess they're taking less threes. I mean, I don't know. I think Kuzma was in the health and safety protocol, which hopefully gets back good. But Wes Unseld Jr., he's been such a good coach, definitely has probably top 5 in Coach of the Year, and sure, I think they are probably going to slip in the next couple weeks. They're probably going to slow down a little bit, but I think that the Wizards definitely have been really impressive. 10, the Cavs. Yeah, the Cavs are definitely shocking everyone. I think, like, they went, so they're like 6 games over 500 when Mobley plays, which is so impressive, or maybe it's more than that, but ever since he's came back, this team has been so good. Even with Sexton missing the whole season, their defense has just looked so good. Garland been playing like pretty much an all-star caliber player, or a borderline all-star caliber player. Evan Mobley has a case to be an all-defensive player, which is incredible for a rookie. Jared Allen pretty much makes every shot every shot he shoots, he pretty much makes it. Yes, they're around the paint, but he's just so efficient. He's good at blocking shots, of course, and I still think that this Cavs team has a chance to make the playoffs. I think that their defense isn't good, and even with injuries, they've been consistent, and I would say this season they have been a top 10 team in the NBA. At number 9, we have the Grizzlies. Yeah, I mean, even without John Morant, the Grizzlies have been so impressive. Against that Laker game, they pretty much destroyed the Lakers with just everyone doing a collective bunch that, on both ends, that leads to wins. Desmond Bane has been so incredible. He, like it says, 71 threes this season, which is so good for a second-year player as the 30th overall pick. Yeah, Desmond Bane has been stepping up with Ja out, and like they have Jaren stepping up. They have a couple other people stepping up that this Grizzlies team without Ja are still 16-11, and I still think that they can win more games in the future, and they're going to be even better when Ja comes back. Number 8, we have the Sixers. Okay, I mean, the Sixers, of course, Embiid missed some time, but he's been better recently, he's back, and he's been really good. Seth Curry, good. I still think that the Ben Simmons situation is still interesting. I mean, Ben, maybe he'll get traded, maybe he won't, but I still think that if they can get like a CJ McCollum and a Robert Covington, that would be so good. Or even like something from the Wolves, something from the Kings, some good assets that can really elevate this team over the top. Number 7, we have the Bulls. Yeah, I mean, it's sad that they got destroyed by the virus. Like, I think they have like 10 players in protocol. That's so bad, especially when Zach, DeMar are in it. They're pretty much their 2 best players, and hopefully they can bounce back. Hopefully they can get just healthy, pretty much healthy. And when they're healthy, they're a good team. And even with Nikola Vucevic struggling, they are still one of the top teams in the NBA and are really a playoff threat. And if Vooch can turn it around, improve his efficiency, like make his open shots, this Bulls offense is so deadly. And especially with Vooch stepping it up on the defensive side, pretty much this Bulls team is scary and a lot better than what we expected in the start of the year. Number 6, we have the Heat. Alright, I mean, the Heat are of course a good team. I think Bam is out for a while, which definitely hurts to see. Jimmy's, I think, been out for a while, or like the last couple of games, but they still have Tyler Hero, who's been so good off the bench still. Duncan Robinson, hopefully he can turn it around. Kyle Lowry, a good veteran. Dwayne Dedmon was actually an underrated signing. He's been good on both ends. And yeah, I would say they're around the 6 range. But when they're healthy, hopefully they can get healthy, this team is also, like the Bulls, very dangerous. So at 5, we have the Bucks. I mean, makes sense with, like at the start of the year, they just weren't healthy, but they have Chris being healthy, they have Drew being healthy, Giannis been healthy, and when the big 3 is playing, I think they're like 11-1, something like that, 10-1, which is absolutely incredible. They're definitely still the team to beat in the East, and especially on both ends, they're still that championship level team. And also congrats on Chris Middleton for breaking the Bucks record for most 3-pointers. Definitely Chris can end up as one of the best Bucks ever. Probably his jersey going to get retired. But yeah, shout out Chris Middleton. For the Brooklyn Nets. Oh yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, they are currently 19-8. I think that's the first seed. And yeah, I mean, Kevin Durant just dropped 51 points. Absolutely incredible against the Pistons. I mean, Kevin Durant, I guess he's the second best player in the world. In the case to be the best behind Steph Curry. He's definitely at least top 2. But KD, this Nets team, and even with Harden kind of struggling, hopefully Harden can adapt to this NBA. And I know that like he's used to getting to the free throw line. That's pretty much become a part of his game. But he's still a superstar and one of the best players in the NBA. So hopefully he can get back. I think Kyrie might play on road games now, which would definitely be so big for them. Just when Kyrie's not on the floor, especially with like Joe Harris being out, Blake being bad, Paul Millsap pretty much just being a name, they're gonna need someone like Kyrie Irving to give you a bucket if Harden's not being that 2018 type player. And I guess 4 isn't too bad. Their defense has been actually surprisingly decent this year. I don't think they're bottom 10. They're like in the middle of the pack, like the 13 range. But the next couple of games, Toronto, Philly, Orlando, Denver, they can probably stick as the 1 seed, but I still think that they're not exactly ready for a championship. Either need a Kyrie, either need to get healthy, like their role player stepping up, or James Harden just becoming the James Harden we know. Number 3, the Utah Jazz. Yeah, I mean, they've been way better. They're 19-7, better than the Nets, and like a lot of people are still like not talking about the Jazz, not believing in the Jazz. And yeah, it makes sense. They're so reliant on three-pointers. They don't, just like all their problems, they have a lot of problems. Like I said, they're relying on three-pointers. They don't have that elite perimeter defender who can lock up a LeBron, a Kawhi, a Paul George, a Devin Booker type player, which is definitely a problem in the West, or even like a Steph Curry type of guy. And even like Andrew Wiggins, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't say exactly Wiggins, but like someone up like an all-star caliber player, they don't have the perimeter defenders to stop that. And then of course, Rudy's an amazing defender, one of the greatest of all time, but when they really start to expose him, just get him out of the paint, this whole defense just struggles. And I think that there is a chance that they can be like the Bucks, where they had 2 disappointing years, and then they're like, they just change, make some adjustments, and they start to be good. But the difference between the Jazz and the Bucks is that the Jazz don't have a superstar. Yes, Donovan Mitchell was amazing, especially in the playoffs, but Giannis was a top 5 player. I don't think anyone would say Donovan is a top 5 player. Maybe around 15 to 20 range, which is still amazing, but people still don't believe in the Jazz for good reason, but I still think that they are definitely a threat, but I still think they need to make some adjustments. Number 2, the Warriors, and number 1, the Suns. I mean, they have the same record, I think. Oh, the Suns are up 1, or half a game ahead, but Steph almost passing Ray Allen for all-time three-pointers, which is so incredible. Klay, hopefully he can come back soon. It's just going to be so awesome to see Klay back. I mean, Klay, pretty much a perfect shooting guard, a perfect third option, and it's been so sad to see him miss 2.5 years. It's crazy. Jordan Poole's been impressive, and they still have Wiseman coming back. They have a potential trade in James Wiseman, Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, Wiggins with his contract, and this team definitely is a threat to win the championship, but the Suns are scary. I mean, Devin Booker, even though I don't know if he's still out, but he's of course a bucket. Chris Paul, still as good as he is, and I would say that maybe he should be more aggressive in his shots, but Chris Paul knows what he's doing. He's going to lead the offense, going to slow down just going to know what to do with all of his experience. And after just learning from last year's playoff disappointment, I think that the Suns are going to be back. They're definitely not a fluke. And I would say they have been the best team in the NBA. They, of course, had that 18-game win streak, but the Suns are legit. And then the last one, let's see. Last one is the Pistons. Well, I guess, I mean, they're 4-22. Can't really say too much. I mean, they of course have a lot of promise. They might trade Jeremy Grant in the future, but I guess Pistons right now 30th. I guess that is fine.